Hey everyone, I'm Shawn from Capcom, and I'm here with a very special guest for the live stream for Ask Capcom, Mr. Christian Svensson, or Sven, as you guys know him.
Hey guys, good to see everybody.
It's been a while since we had one of these.
E3.
Does E3 actually count?
Oh, that counts. It was an hour long. It was an hour-long special Ask Capcom session. It counts.
All right. So, what have you been doing since then? You been playing anything?
Yeah, of course. League of Legends. I've been playing a lot. Still playing some Spiral Knights. Been messing with Zelda on 3DS. So yeah, I'm keeping busy.
Nice. I actually picked that up myself too.
Mm-hmm.
Good. Anyway, so let's just hop right into the questions. There's one big one.
Sure.
You probably know what it is.
I bet I do. Maybe I'm psychic, and it probably has something to do with mercenaries and
it does.
Single save slots. I'll address it right up front. I really can't say more than we've said publicly. I think it's fair to say that there was never quite the malicious intent that the conspiracy theorists out there would have you believe. I think it's also fair to say that in light of the controversy it's generated, I don't think you're going to see something like this happening again. And that is probably all I'm going to be able to say about that. All right.
Well, then we'll go into another question. We actually put a blog up on Unity this morning, and we can probably just dance through a few of these. So Pip-Boy asks, he goes, you know it's coming, so let's get it over with. MVC3 DLC. That has to be one of the best ways to phrase that question I've heard in a while. We get asked all the time.
Yeah, we do. I still have nothing I can say about DLC. I have said recently we have not forgotten about Marvel, and Marvel is still very important for us, and do not confuse silence for disinterest. All I can say is, all I can request is more of your patience. That's all.
All right. So let's see. I mean, if there's anything you want to call out here too, and then also if you guys are in the live chat, we'll be pulling some questions from there soon.
Will you disclose the meaning behind the secret meeting Capcom had with Marvel back in May? I'm not sure which meeting that would be. I'm in a lot of meetings with Marvel, and if it's secret, there's obviously going to be stuff we can't talk about. That's secret. Does Capcom have plans to develop for the PlayStation Vita and the Wii U? Also, what do you find most appealing about these new pieces of hardware?
The Vita,
for the Vita, we've announced Street Fighter Cross Tekken, so I can say safely yes.
So here's my question too. I don't know if you can talk about these at all, but with the Vita, we also showed, when it first announced, we showed that tech demo of Lost Planet 2.
We did. And that's true. We did.
There was, I think it was still a tech demo. I'm not actually sure. I didn't pay attention, but they also showed for Japan's, the classic PSP game Replay. They showed Portable Third.
Yeah, I think that was a demonstration of how it handles PSP code.
Right, it can still play them.
Right, and upscales them and makes it look even nicer.
Neither one of those is a confirmation, though.
Neither one of those is, certainly, but Street Fighter Cross Tekken definitely.
Yes.
I will say we're looking carefully at Vita. There's a lot to recommend it. It's a beautiful piece of hardware. You know how things work. We announce things when we're good and ready. Coming to the topic of Wii U, we continue to have conversations about how best to tackle that. I've nothing to confirm right now, but we're close with Nintendo. That's probably the best way I'd put it. You can draw your own conclusions from there.
All right. So we've talked about this question, but we can ask his second portion. Lone Gamer is asking, are there any possibilities of seeing art books released by Capcom Japan on Western shores?
A lot of them do come across, but not all. And that really gets done on a case-by-case basis, depending upon whether our licensing partners who handle the localization are quite frankly, see enough of a market to justify the localization and production expense. It's not, and trust me, we pitch everything to those guys, and those guys, pick up what they feel is most viable. If there's something specific that you guys really, really want, Udon publishes a lot of the art books in particular for us. So, I mean, the best bet is to make yourself heard with Udon and demonstrate, hey, there's demand for this thing.
Yeah.
I mean, they're the deciders in terms of, oh, we're going to go for that. And we have other partners as well, other publishing partners as well, but Udon does most of the art books.
Well, we just had the Monster Hunter Illustrations books announced that it's being localized and should be out in August.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, it does happen.
Yep, definitely does.
Okay. Pick any out here that you want to pull out.
Is it really a reboot for Resident Evil? This is something that actually... So there's somebody saying, is it really a reboot for Resident Evil?
Okay.
I'm misunderstood. I think there's a very wide... how can I say that? There are a variety of definitions that people have in their own heads for what does reboot mean.
Right.
And I think, and this comes up in the DMC conversations, this comes up in, is it a reboot or is it a prequel? The two, in my head, are in no way mutually exclusive. Right. A reboot means a new direction, a brand new update for the franchise. That doesn't mean you throw everything away and start from scratch. Right. And that's something, I don't know how to make that clear to people. So let's say, people say Resident Evil 4 was a reboot for the Resident Evil franchise. Did it throw away all of the Resident Evil canon and start from scratch and rewrite it? No, it didn't. What it did was it changed the gameplay in some very interesting ways, largely due to camera. Right. But that is a reboot. So when we say reboot, that doesn't mean we're going to piss everybody off and take away everything that you knew and loved. No, it's we're making some drastic changes to a series to update it and keep it relevant. That's really what it's about. And I think the question as it pertains to Resident Evil, I think somebody is referring to something Takeuchi said about the next big Resident Evil game, which we're not ready to talk about anytime soon, but it let's just say it's ambitious. I'll leave it at that.
All right. Let's see. I'm trying to find a good... There's a lot of questions I'm seeing popping up about Mega Man X9. I don't know if you want to touch on that again. I know we have briefly before.
Yeah, unfortunately, there's no news to share on X9.
Oh, here's, actually on the Mega Man X stuff, a question popped up in the Mega Man forums the other day that I saw, and I didn't really know how to answer it, so I actually have not responded, but maybe you can talk about it. They're simply asking, what about taking the engine that we've used in the past for the old SNES, like I know we used it with Marvel vs. Capcom 2 and Third Strike Online. We have those filters that we apply for the old older arcade games and whatnot, and they're asking about doing that for the SNES Mega Man games.
I don't see why we couldn't. It's a good question. It's something I'll take back to the strategy to the planning group, and we'll noodle on that.
Interesting. Not the answer I was expecting.
No, there's no, other than I don't know, that could make, from my perspective, could make a good digital product.
Any plans for multiplayer and or single player demos for Operation Raccoon City?
I have to plead ignorance, frankly. I'm not sure what our demo strategy, if any, on that is. I know that the schedule is very tight, and the team is working very hard. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure where the demo, if there is a demo in the plan, and if there were a demo, I would bet it would be multiplayer, because that's really the primary focus. Let's see here. So no Ace Attorney investigations 2. So actually, some time ago I had mentioned that unfortunately Ace Attorney 2 on NDS was no-go for the West as far as localization goes. And like I have said that I am pushing for some certain ways for it to come over, maybe not in ways that people are anticipating, but trying to get that content on these shores. I have also said it takes a long time to localize, a long time to develop, a long time before any of the stuff would ever happen, even if it were in the works. I'm not saying that it is. And if so, to set expectations, if it were to happen, the soonest announcements would happen, not the game would come out. Announcements would happen would be next year. There's just no way. That's just how long it takes to do stuff. It's just the reality of how long game development takes. And we wouldn't announce anything until, at least the thing I'm pushing for, we haven't been good at this, is trying to make sure we don't announce anything until we know for sure it's coming out.
Yeah.
So.
But there's hope. An inkling of hope, maybe?
The fans have pushed really hard. I have brought it to the very highest levels of our decision-making folks. I'm hoping. I'm hoping it shows up someday.
All right. More Mega Man. Let's see. Oh, this actually brought up a question that was asked via our Twitter. And I just want to call that out. So hi guys from Twitter. We're listening there too. His question was basically, and I can't remember his name, I'm sorry, but with Japan's announcement of the PSP engine for the PS3, he was asking if that's a chance for Power Stone to see a chance to make it to consoles again.
Theoretically, frankly, a lot of that sits in Sony's hands, SCEA and SCE's hands right now. I could see it happening in Japan because Japan has, SCEJ has committed to that range of products.
Yeah.
That's not necessarily, I continue to have conversations with SCEA on exactly this topic. I have no news, unfortunately, I can share on that front, but we're pushing hard for that to sort of happen, not just for, I think it opens the door to Power Stone, it opens the door to Metal Gear, it opens the door to Monster Hunter.
Yeah, it
opens the door for a lot of things, but unfortunately there's no movement on that front right now.
Gotcha.
Still pushing though.
Had to ask.
Yep, no, fair question.
Well, it was the first time that I'd ever actually thought about it in a way of actually seeing Power Stone again on a console, which was that's why it popped out as sort of interesting to me anyway.
Even outside of that, that's something, something I'd love to see. Power Stone comes up in conversations. There's nothing I can talk about right now, but I'd love to see Power Stone come back.
I don't know if you can talk about this one.
Public performance. So there's a Senate bill, which actually from this post looks like it's 978. I'm actually reading that. I'm assuming he's right because I actually don't know.
Well, he actually linked the Sure You Can story.
Right.
So
and I'll reiterate what I posted on our boards because actually SRK and Event Hubs both posted what I responded to on that. There's a couple parts to this, and when you get into IP law and copyright law, there's no question that there are copyright claims to be made. Technically every screenshot is, every movie, everything is owned by the IP holder. We have historically benefited from certain kinds of streaming and video uploading and what have you. The example I gave in the post that I wrote was, Evo streaming, gets lots of people hyped about our games. We benefit from that. And of course, that's something that even if this were to come to pass, we would put paperwork in place with the appropriate guys to make sure that, they're able to keep doing what they're doing. We have other things where, we have videos leak out of stuff that's not ready to go out, things that derail marketing plans, things that while they're done by passionate fans, actually sometimes they aren't aware of the impact it can have on other things that tends to cost us tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
Sometimes more. It's it derails a whole lot of momentum around things when things get released in places where we don't want them. At times we don't want them to come out. Sometimes there are things that we want the fans to discover for themselves, and that's why they're not part of the plan, and that takes away some of the customer satisfaction that we're trying to let the fans discover. That's my long-winded way of saying sometimes it doesn't benefit us. And the reality is we will find through our community teams ways for the people who should have the ability and the mechanisms that should be out there for people to share. We'll facilitate that. I mean, Street Fighter 3 Online Edition has YouTube uploading built into the product. We want people to share that. We want people to express themselves and show off and teach, and all of those things are really in the community's best interests. Yeah. So, and we'll facilitate that. I foresee a day where our products allow streaming from in-game. That day is not far off.
That would be cool.
That these are things that we talk about all the time. We're pushing Japan to develop these technologies. We're pushing our teams here to think about including those technologies, and what's more, figuring out how to tie Unity into them as well. So we're all about figuring out ways to share, and obviously when we include that functionality, by default, we're implying, and maybe we'll make it more official with a click-through license, that you have the right to upload and share and do stuff there. So and then there's the other part, there's some fear that, well, this no longer becomes a civil thing, which it already is a civil thing, and this bill makes it a criminal thing where the government could come after you for doing so. The reality is the government is not going to be a watchdog for this. It's at least as I see it, they don't have the bandwidth, they don't have the resources. It's really going to come, there's an infraction, we want to go after this infraction, and we ping the authorities to help in protecting that IP. The reality is, for 99.9% of uses, we benefit. Yeah. It's the 0.1% that, in general, you're not going to need to worry about it. It's really what it comes down to.
Well, it sounds like mostly good news.
Yeah. So, and it's a complex issue. It's a very big legal issue. The other thing is, there's a component of IP law where if you are not actively protecting your assets, you could be deemed to have abandoned them. So there are steps that sometimes have to be taken when there's certain kinds of infringements, and there are steps that don't. So anyway, that's
all right. Yeah, someone says IP law is silly zone.
So, it can be. Yeah. It's but unfortunately, IP is. To make the investment in IP is not small, and steps need to be taken to protect it where needed. And the other part of this is, as a part of our community outreach and our, a big goal of mine here is to let the fans become our advocates and let them share what they're doing. We benefit from that hugely.
Oh, yeah. And it's also a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Okay, so I don't know how much time you have. If you have till about noon?
Yeah, sure. I'll miss lunch. We're past noon.
Okay.
So keep going.
Well, good. All right. Well, then we'll keep asking questions here, and then we'll come to a few in the stream. So I know you guys are wondering if we're watching. We are. I've been watching and holding them in the backlog. Do you want to hop into the forums at all? Is there any questions?
Actually, I've addressed most of the stuff that's in the forums that I can address right now. So I don't think there's anything hot button wise there. Okay. Although actually I'll throw one out that I think we actually need to shine a little bit more light on.
Okay.
Super Street Fighter 4 Arcade Edition for PC launches next week.
Yeah.
Tuesday.
Okay.
Something we haven't covered a lot of, although some people did ask about, is how's DLC work? Well, we've redone the DLC packages for Arcade Edition so that they're A, cheaper, and B, let's say you're a fan of Zangief. Okay. Let's just say. The packs still have 5 characters per pack. The difference is each pack has every costume for those 5 characters. So instead of having to buy the Brawler pack for Vanilla, Super, and Ultra, it's all wrapped into one.
I see.
So you only buy it, so if so and the pricing varies depending upon sort of the era. So I think the Vanilla packs have 15 costumes per pack, and I believe they're $5.99, I think. Then there's the characters that were only in Super, and I believe there's 10 characters for 10 costumes in those packs, so they're $4.99. And then there's the 4 new characters for Arcade Edition, which has 8 costumes in it, and that's $3.99. Then, and I'm doing this from memory, so if I'm off by $1 here and there, don't kill me. You'll find the thread that actually has a link to the spreadsheet there. Then there's the all singing, all dancing, all costumes pack, and I forget how many there are in there. It's a ton.
It's like the complete.
It's the complete everything.
Yeah.
From all packs, and basically that pack costs what one of the complete packs from one of the eras was. And I think it's $17.99 or $16.99.
Interesting.
So you could have everything for what you would have paid for one of the Ultra packs and one of the other releases. So we've streamlined it and made it a bit better and a lot less expensive. So that's that. Secondly, DLC. DLC will probably not be available until the end of the week. So while for the majority of users, it will come through Games for Windows Live Marketplace.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, Steam users will not have DLC available for a bit longer. We are redoing the DLC transaction mechanism to make use of Steam's own transactions. It's going to take us a while for us to actually roll an update that has that in there. So we're gonna have to. So Steam users, sorry, we're gonna have to hold you off on DLC.
Seems a little
for
easier
a bit longer.
though. It uses the Steam mechanism. I don't.
It is easy either way.
Okay.
I will leave it at that.
So, well, is there any other questions you want to touch on that?
No, that's okay. Just something that I wanted to shine a bit more light on because I don't think we've gotten the word quite out on that so well. Maybe Monday when it's July 4th, I'll post a blog or something that highlights that, or Tuesday when I get back if I'm feeling lazy.
I should bring that up too real quick. If you guys do have questions for Christian that actually don't get answered, we do this pretty often, but there's also the forums, which we're in all the time, and Christian's there. I mean,
fair amount.
You sent me a message about the forums last night at like
2 in the morning.
Yeah, I don't know what it was. So anyway, we're there all the time trying to answer questions, and Christian especially is in there with some of the best answers you'll be able to get from Capcom. Okay. What do you have planned for Comic-Con and Gamescom?
When are we announcing the Comic-Con plans?
I don't know, actually.
You would. You're integral to that process, so I would think that you. I mean, I know.
I can tell you that I'm streaming. I can't tell you what I'm streaming.
Right.
But I will be there live streaming everything we have to show, but I don't know exactly what, when, or how we're going to announce everything.
Can I make a suggestion? Get with Karen and Francis and Alicia and figure out. It might be the week before. It might be 2 days before. It might be the Monday of. But come up with a plan.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
if somebody probably has one, but
we usually throw up to if you guys are interested in going. If you're going to be at Comic-Con, if you manage to snag a ticket, I don't know if there's a way to get them any more cheaply, but we usually throw out the layout too. So if you're interested in like seeing where our booth is at, what it's going to look like, how big is our store, if there's places or games that you want to see specifically, we throw out the layout of the booth up on Capcom Unity, so you can just see exactly where everything you want to see is.
And yes, Francis was at New York Comic Con. He runs all of our events.
Yeah.
And more. He's actually in charge of all of creative services, so he's actually an amazing artist as well.
You don't want to answer this one, but I threw this up on the Monster Hunter Facebook, and everyone's asking, any news about Monster Hunter?
Not since E3. Nothing new since E3, unfortunately.
There's the Monster Hunter art book.
There is. I am still. We mentioned the Sony issue around the PSP to PS3 line that Sony Japan is doing.
Yeah.
I'm still pushing very hard on that. I'd like for that to happen. In the absence of that, at some point in time, we will have some additional news, which is interesting. Actually, you were a part of some of the noodling that we did earlier this week on that topic. In fact, you sly dog, you.
I don't want them to know that I know anything, because then all the questions go to you, and I don't have to worry about it.
Oh, I see.
This is my plan that's unveiled on the internet here.
Well, it's just to pull the curtain away a bit more, when it comes to Monster Hunter, when I want feedback or input on the crazy ideas that we're noodling, I go to Shawn for feedback on what you guys would think of stuff. So Shawn's well in the loop on some things.
So let's see. There's a few questions about PlayStation avatars for Street Fighter Alpha 3 and Third Strike. Basically, people want more. I know we release avatars almost every week, and
we do. I could have sworn we had all the Third Strike avatars out already, but I could be wrong. I'll have to check. It's funny. The avatar
we released
stuff,
some, but they're asking for more.
Okay. Oh, more as in additional. The key is, I thought we'd put up ones for every character. We usually put up one per character, but if you want more poses for Elena or what have you.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll have to bring it up with licensing. Just to give you some idea on how that used to work. Licensing is now actually administering it. We were administering it on our side for a while, but it's technically like digital merchandise, so we're having them handle it at this point. But I'll ping our licensing team and see if we can't come up with some more art. Certainly, we've got all the new germ art that was done for Street Fighter 3 Online Edition. We can probably come up with something. I know that we are cooking up some interesting ideas for promotions on PSN in particular surrounding Street Fighter 3 Online Edition. So stay tuned on that front too.
That's news to me. Cool.
Yeah.
Okay. Here's one that I haven't seen asked in a long time, but they're asking, will iOS games ever be made available, or games ever be for Android? So,
something else.
We're almost strictly iOS as far as I know. And
well, that's not necessarily always going to be the case. I'm going to dodge the question and say I can't tell you anything, but I would not be surprised if some Android stuff shows up down the line. To give you guys another update, in the past, I would have simply deferred that question to our mobile team, who is based in LA. We've actually undergone some changes within the organization, such that our LA-based mobile team is going to continue to focus on what they've had great success at with social mobile, on licensed IP and new IP, and Capcom mobile stuff, things like Resident Evil, Street Fighter, Devil May Cry stuff, is actually going to start to be handled by our group beginning in October.
Yeah.
So we are in the process of sort of getting up to speed on what that whole business looks like and how we handle promotions. You can probably expect to see a lot more mobile stuff on Unity, via Shawn and the community team as we integrate more with that side of the business.
Definitely. And actually, I should just give a little shout out. Street Fighter Volt released yesterday. Go get it.
It did. It's $1.99 today.
Yeah.
Tomorrow it will be $2.99.
Yeah. Every
the day
day
after it will be $3.99. So buy sooner than later. It's a good deal.
I don't know why, but I think that's a fun way to sort of promote the game. Like, I've never seen any other app do that. Every day we're gonna. Just
I bought it yesterday.
Yeah, it was 99 cents yesterday. So if you missed it, it's only gonna go up to its full price, which will be $6.99. I think so.
I believe it's $6.99. Yeah,
and so
right.
Yeah, if you get it today, then or tomorrow or whatever, then it'll be way cheaper. Okay. All right. So, this question's coming up. I've seen this pop up in the Ask Capcom and the Megaman area of the forums. Smash Brothers.
Oh yeah, I'm totally down.
So everybody wants to know if we're going to do anything, and
well, I've to the extent that I can do stuff, I've asked people in Japan to get in contact with soccer. I have no idea. I haven't heard an update on whether that has happened or not, but I'm totally interested in seeing that happen.
But it's not really up to us, though.
It's not up to us. It's not our game. At the end of the day, not our game.
Yeah.
You know, we can make the inquiry. We can you know, try and make ourselves available, but you know, at the end of the day, it's Nintendo's game and their decision.
All right. This is probably a question for Greg. So this comes up a little bit, but I don't know if you know anything or can talk to or give an update on Mega Man Legends 3.
Nothing for me to talk about on that front, unfortunately.
Okay.
I got to defer to Greg and company on what's going on there.
If you guys don't know Greg, look for Gregaman. Actually, he just put up a post today on Capcom Unity about Roll. Look for that post and then talk to Greg. Greg is basically our liaison with Capcom Japan going on there. So he's the community guru talking and listening to all of you guys about Legends. He's
embedded with the team, doing team stuff.
All right. So if you guys have questions too in the live chat, shoot them out there, and then I'll grab them as we're going by. Or if you see anything that you want to talk about too, just I'm gonna keep looking through the posts on the blog here.
That's all right. So somebody's asking about a Super Mario vs. Capcom 3. Is there interest in it? Just like the DLC question, get it. I know there's people asking for it, but nothing for me to talk about on that front right now.
Oh, is that same question here?
Onimusha plans. Onimusha is most definitely in a resting state right now. So nothing happening today. Doesn't mean something won't happen down the line, but nothing to get excited about right now, unfortunately.
So Mika asks, why won't RE4 and Code Veronica be on CD or be on a disc for the US?
For the West.
Yeah. It is in Japan.
In Japan, they've done a disc-based release. For the West, we want 2 reasons. Number one, we wanted the entry point to be much lower.
Yeah.
So instead of charging you $40 for a disc or $50 for a disc, we will have a more attractive price digitally.
So cheaper.
So
that's
cheaper.
Good.
and really that's what it comes down to. It's better value for money. We figured we'd reach more people with it, and we make about the same contribution per unit for what we will be charging for what we would be charging $40 for or more for a disc. Actually, it'd be more in that particular case.
Here we go. This is a good question. At least I feel like it is.
Are there opportunities for people that want to work for Capcom but are across the country? That is to say, not here.
Yeah, so here's another, just to throw an additional thing into that. I've been seeing a lot of questions in our own forums about working here if they don't even live in the country.
Challenges.
So I mean,
and this is true. This is true of the game industry in general. So not just specific to Capcom. In general, you're going to need to be where the work is done. And we have offices in Vancouver, Toronto, LA, and the Bay Area for North America.
Yeah.
At some point in time, I hope to establish a very small office, but it's probably going to be 1 or 2 people for the first couple of years in somewhere in Brazil. That's sort of my next expansion plan. But that won't happen for at least a year, and it will be a small sales and marketing, beachhead. Really is what I'm looking for it to be. If you can't be in one of those locations, the odds of you actually getting a job with us is next to 0. It's just the reality of people need to be in the office. It's extremely rare where people work remote. We have some of our sales reps work remote, but they're pretty much the exception.
Yeah.
Vancouver's our biggest studio in the West. They are about 180 people right now, but they will probably be well over 300 in the next year or 2. In Toronto is our mobile development studio, or at least the largest one.
Yeah.
So if you are a programmer or designer, those are probably the 2 places to be. In our office, we have sales, marketing, but we have producers, QA, is here. We have technical directors. We have art directors. Not a specific team. These are people that work across multiple projects.
Right. And I know in the past, and this is I feel like a pretty case by case basis, there has been relocation.
Oh yeah, I mean for the right position, if you're the right person for the right job, we will relocate you.
Yeah.
But that said, those jobs tend to not be junior level positions for the most part. Although that said, we are relocating a junior level PR person up here. So
yeah. I thought this question was just kind of fun and not so serious. So Vega Man asks, Sven, which Capcom classic game would you like to see developed with today's technologies? Mine, for example, is Gunsmoke. Which one is yours?
Oh, wow. With today's technologies, I would say maybe the old Dungeons and Dragons games.
I actually have not played them.
Maybe, along the same lines, if you look at Alien vs. Predator as a beat 'em up, it's a really, really deep system there. Let's see here. What else would be? I'm going back a ways. The problem is that Gunsmoke is, the basic shooters are like Forgotten Worlds. I mean, you could do some crazy stuff, but the gameplay, it would look a lot better, but the gameplay wouldn't be radically different. I think that with some modern design, DuckTales would be a great one. Yeah, that would be really cool.
That would be fun.
I'm trying to think of things that would be gameplay interesting and visually interesting.
Okay, let's see.
Aladdin's Nest, that'd be another good one. Agreed.
Just to stick with the
Strider. Duh. Yeah. Strider would be an awesome one. Yeah, good call. Whoever got that one up there. That's an excellent call.
I'm surprised no one said Little Nemo. I'm sad.
Little Nemo. I don't know. There's a fan base for it. Not one of my favorites, I got to admit.
Yeah. Okay. So a few of these questions that you guys are asking in the live chat, like about Monster Hunter, about Ace Attorneys, we're going to have this up recorded. So if you're hopping in now, watch the recorded version in just a few minutes when I put it up later.
I'm seeing Needles, who works for a GameStop in Connecticut, is trying to put on an arcade edition tournament, but wants to have Street Fighter Cross Tekken there. Little hard for us to get somebody out there with a ROM and a debug unit. You're unfortunately a little bit far afield for us. That said, I suspect we will definitely have it at Comic-Con. We will definitely have it at EVO. We had it at our arcade edition launch event in San Francisco earlier this week. So there are going to be loads of sampling opportunities for Street Fighter Cross Tekken between now and when the game actually comes out.
So here's a question I've seen fly by a couple times. I think it's from the same guy. Any advancement in getting viewable hitboxes in fighting games? Didn't we do that?
We did it in HD Remix.
Oh, okay.
And let's just say that there are people internally very much in favor of seeing that happen. And there are some people internally, unfortunately, who are not. And because they feel for some reason that gives away too much, even though in reality that stuff shows up on a wiki within record time anyway.
Yeah.
It's a battle we still have internally. That's the best answer I can give you.
Megaman Battle Network collections.
Really?
There's a few people asking.
I'm not sold on the commercial viability of that, but we'll see. Let's put it this way. Remember, one of the things to remember is every request that we get, we have to look at from a prioritization of resources and time against everything else. So it has to be stack ranked against everything else that everybody else is asking us for. It's a challenge. It really, really is. And at the same time, we still have to use a fair amount of resources to do new stuff. We need to keep creating new IP. We need to keep doing new things, not just going back to the well on existing franchises. As much as the fans love that, we need to be creating the franchises of tomorrow, and some amount of resources needs to go towards that. So somebody asked, what have we been playing other than other Capcom's games lately? We actually covered this a little bit earlier, but League of Legends I play literally almost every night. I hit level 14, I think, last night. Spiral Knights I play a fair amount. I've got full 4 and 5 star gear, some combination with my daughter. I play, actually, if you have a younger son or daughter, Spiral Knights is a fantastic thing to play with them. You can set up your own little... You can go down in the Clockworks all by yourselves, just the 2 of you or 3 of you if you have more than one kid and more than one PC, obviously. And she has all her gear, I have all my gear, and we spend hours every weekend playing.
That's awesome.
And like I said, Zelda on 3DS is sort of my other thing. My daughter's into that too, so she watches me play, or she'll want to get up and she'll take it for an hour and just literally just run around, just have fun. So yeah, it's good. Cool.
I've been playing the Uncharted 3 beta.
Is it good?
It is good.
I'm not. That was a dumb question. Of course it's good. Uncharted 2 rocked. Uncharted 3 will be amazing.
Yes. Okay, I'm looking for some more questions. If you guys have other questions for us, dude, throw them out there. Ooh, here we go. Can we get other events like fight clubs for other games like Asura's Wrath, Dragon's Dogma?
I mean, what's funny, Seth and I sat down with one of the more senior guys in our strategic marketing group last week, and he happens to be based in Europe, and they were talking about obviously fight clubs are very successful for us in North America, and we've been doing it for years. But the question came up, and the discussion came up amongst us about how do we broaden that for other brands. Obviously, it works very well for our fighting brands, but how do we get more product there, and should we? And Seth's and my response was, in the case of fight clubs, they should just be fight clubs.
Right.
That doesn't mean that we shouldn't necessarily implement similar things for other titles, or provided that they have longevity. So maybe something Resident Evil themed might make some sense at some point. My ultimate goal, and I've been talking about this for as long as I've been here, is to someday do Capcom Con, which is, just as Blizzard has BlizzCon.
Yeah.
And Sony years ago had Fanfare.
We could just call it Capcom.
Capcom. Her.
All right. Sorry.
And that would be a celebration of all of our brands and all of our products and everything. We're not there yet.
Even since I started here, that's been something that we've been talking about on and off.
We're noodling stuff. I mean, and there are things. Captivate is our global media event, and we bring some of our community members out there. We've been talking about trying to figure out how do we blow that out and make it. Yes, we have our day or two with the media, but then we show fans everything that we just showed the media, kind of in almost the same way. To let them sort of be a part of the process and get in as early as the media do, or close. We're still noodling that. We don't have good answers there, but it's something I'd like to see happen, and maybe next year. I'm already building budgets for next year. We'll see what looks like.
Here you go. Are you going to see the Japan Universal Studios Monster Hunter thingy?
The one in no.
Did you see the latest about that?
Yeah, I've seen it. I inevitably I will probably not see it. It's a cool idea, but I just don't get to. I've never been to Universal Studios I believe it's in Tokyo, right?
I think so. Yeah.
So yeah, never been, and in all of my times in Tokyo, I just never get there.
Did you see what they released as far as how big the thing's going to be? The claw, like they've modeled part of it. They modeled the claw of the Rathalos.
Right.
And the thing is, I mean, you could barely fit it in this room. I mean, it's as tall as we are, and then as big around as probably we are at the base. Like the thing, I don't even know how they're going to put that together. So
It's a phenomenon.
It's pretty cool.
Somebody's asking, what's Ben Jett up to these days? Ben is currently working for a company that represents developers and manages developers called DDM.
Okay.
Actually, I have lots of friends at DDM. Ben is now one of them. He just happens to be the one based in Japan.
Cool. I didn't know that, actually.
Yep. Bionic Commando in the future. Wouldn't rule it out, but nothing for me to talk about right now.
You know, someone brought this up, and I don't know if we have any news on it. The 3DS eShop. They're just asking if we're going to be putting anything on there. I know it supports old Game Boy games, and do we have anything that...
I believe there's some stuff in the works. We are... I would be shocked if we didn't have something up there in relatively short order.
Did you see what Excitebike did for it?
Yeah, it's really cool.
Like, 3D.
It's really cool.
That was pretty awesome. Let's see.
Is there a chance for the return of the Clock Tower series? I suspect not. If I recall, I think, I mean, I could be wrong, but I don't think Capcom developed that. I think we published it, but I don't think we were the original developer of the series.
I think that sounds about right. That was an old PC game, right?
No, it was PS2.
Oh, PS2.
There were a couple of
them. I did not
them.
play, as is obvious.
How much do you both make in salary-wise? That is none of your business, sir.
How big is Capcom?
How big is Capcom? Well, we'll cut it a couple of different ways. In revenue for fiscal 10, I believe we're about $1.2 billion-ish. Maybe with exchange rate, maybe 1.3. In terms of headcount, Osaka has about 1,100 people in it. Tokyo has about...
That Osaka is mostly development, right?
Almost. The vast majority of that headcount is developers. It's about 1,000 developers. And then Tokyo has another couple hundred, probably 200 or so. There's some development studios in Tokyo as well as licensing is there. Some executive heads are there. The company headquarters is Osaka, just so you know that.
Yeah.
We have offices in Seoul, Hong Kong, London, Hamburg, Paris. What am I missing? And obviously I mentioned ours, Vancouver, Toronto, LA. The North American operations are about 400 people.
Across all?
Across all.
Does that include, that includes Vancouver? And
that includes Vancouver. So, I mean, in this office here is about 150 or so, 160 in that range. So, I mean, we've got, this is just a ballpark number, call it close to 1,000 worldwide people, close. Proper Street Fighter movie when? Well, there's a very short one called Street Fighter Legacy that would be now, that I would call proper.
You guys don't like our movies?
Let's see. And somebody's asking about preloading Super Street Fighter 4 Arcade Edition on Steam. Steam, we just delivered to Valve the files yesterday. There's some testing today. I'm actually, one of the questions I asked is, have we received test builds from Valve yet based upon what we sent them back to make sure they're good? I hadn't received an answer to that, and we'll see if we can get the testing done today, then we can probably preload Sunday or Monday, just a guess. I'm not against giving them the ability to preload. I think we've told that to most of our digital distribution partners. What is the release date of Street Fighter 3 Third Strike Online Edition? We have a plan, but we do not have a date. And until I have approved code, the irony is I actually do have approved code, but we have to resub for a legal issue that I won't get into. But yeah, hopefully, I don't want to give you a date just in case it moves, but summer is what we've told. Domster Cool is not far off for our plan, so I will leave it at that.
Gotcha. So there is one question, and I think I've asked this before, and it's I think only one person's asking. I don't know how many people like Zack and Wiki, but any chance though that we'll ever see Zack and Wiki again? I love that game. So good.
I would be surprised if you didn't see something like it at some point in time.
Yeah.
I don't know that it will necessarily be exactly that.
Yeah.
And if you haven't played Zack and Wiki, you owe it to yourself to find it at Amazon or
good luck.
Who's ever got it?
Find it if you can get it, and then never sell it again.
Well, it wasn't that hard. There, trust me, there were a lot of units not selling that I had to unfortunately mark down.
Really?
Oh yeah. So it's
pre-ordered mine.
It's got to be out there. Well, God bless you, mate. God bless you.
So here's a question that's been popping up, and I can just mention it real quick. Monster Hunter Tri, up until when? They're not going down anytime soon. There's been a massive rumor going around.
Somebody said the servers are the servers are not going down.
Nope.
We are still paying for those servers. Trust me.
So what you've seen happen in the past is we basically consolidated. There was a much bigger space as far as rooms that you could play in. And people were being spread out, and so what we did is we pushed everybody closer together. So a bunch of the space that was there, you still have the same amount of people that are playing, and there's a lot playing every week. The numbers that I saw surprised me. So multiple, I mean, I don't know if I can say the number or not.
What?
How many people are playing online, if I'm allowed to or not.
Let's leave it off. It's okay.
It's a lot.
It's a lot of people playing.
Anyway, so basically they're not shutting down. And we're making sure that you guys still have the ability to play. Come to the forums and talk to us.
Let's put it this way. Until we have another solution in place for you, they're not going anywhere.
Yeah. Anyway, so if you hear that rumor, it's just a rumor. Not true.
Monster Hunter Tri port for PS3. Not Tri for PS3, unfortunately. The PS3 solution, which for now is only in Japan, is portable third HD. Any news from Monster Hunter Frontier? Nope. Same situation right now. Are there plans to implement a DLC plan for Monster Hunter Tri? The game was not built for DLC beyond the dynamic quests system. So unfortunately, no. Has Capcom ever thought about releasing its own console? I mean, past, present, future. Not only has it thought about it, we did. The CPS Changer is an incredibly rare Japan-only console that Capcom put out that is basically arcade hardware in a box like a Neo Geo.
Yep, I remember that.
Very rare, very expensive if you can lay your hands on one.
Yep. But unfortunately, not since then.
we have no plans for the future.
Well, I mean, we're about an hour right now.
Yeah, we should probably wrap it up. I'm actually seeing a lot of the same questions for things that we actually answered earlier in the stream. So those of you who are asking questions that did not see your question answered, 2 suggestions. Number 1, rewatch the stream from the beginning. Number 2, failing that, post in the Ask Capcom forums, and maybe I'll jump in and give you an answer if I can.
Definitely.
And Resident Evil 5 DLC, one last leaving tip. Resident Evil 5 DLC for PC or Gold Edition, are there any plans? Unfortunately, there are none right now. The team is working on other stuff and not looking backwards, looking forwards.
All right. I think that's a good note to leave it off on.
Okay. Thanks, guys. Oh, I'm sorry. Pro Gear and Arashi and Cave. No, we have nothing happening on that front. So, sorry, guys.
I don't even know what that is.
Some hardcore Japan shoot 'em ups.
Alrighty.
So.
Okay. Bye, guys. We'll see you on the forums.
Bye, guys.